Blog Talk Radio. Hello and welcome to Real Combat Media Boxing Radio, episode 21. I'm your host, Christy Rosario, here in lovely Los Angeles, California, joined by our boxing prophet from New York City. How you doing, Prophet?
Great, and yourself?
I'm good. Looking forward to this show. How about you?
I'm looking forward to a great show, and I think the fans will truly enjoy this one. This one's going to be special. Not that they're all not special, but this one we have two incredible guests, and I think the fans are going to love them.
I think so, too. It's going to be a fantastic show. If you want to call in, you can call 347-324-5998. Again, 347-324-5998. Or you can find us on Twitter at Real Combat Media. My Twitter is at BoxingGirl, BXINGIRL, and the Boxing Prophet is the Boxing Prophet 68. You can Twitter us all. Or you can find us on Facebook at Real Combat Media in the search bar. So coming up, we have a really good show. I'm so excited. Finally, we're going to have Abner Mares come on, and that should be awesome. He's coming on in about a half an hour. And later, we have Lamon Brewster, heavyweight. And he is also awesome. I know him back in the day when we were training at the same gym. So looking forward to talking to him. We're also going to talk about, and I know Prophet's going to love this, Tony Thompson's TKO in the 5th round over David Price. And we're going to move on for our topics. Robert Stiglitz versus Yuzo Kiyota for the WBO title. We're going to discuss Miguel Cotto's new trainer and what we think about that. Not quite sure why he needs a new trainer, but we will discuss this. And Garcia and Matese finally seems to be that they are going to fight each other, and I am very excited about that. What do you think about that, Prophet? We have a great show, all these topics. Two incredible guests coming on, and we have a new panel guest that's going to come and talk to us shortly, Clarence Nixon. So a full show today, Prophet.
I'm looking forward to it. I get to eat a little bit of humble pie, and we also get to talk about a fight that a lot of people, including myself, didn't think would get made with Garcia against Matisse, and now there's rumors all over social media that it's a possibility. It's not etched in stone yet, but Matisse Garcia could be placed on the undercard of Mayweather-Canelo. And if that's
all right,
the case,
that would be great, but that is not our topic now. So we will talk about that later. I know it's exciting. I like Lucas Matisse and Daniel Garcia myself. But we will now talk about what I'm sure you've been waiting to talk about. I want to talk about Tony Thompson TKOing in the 5th round in England over our English buddy David Price, heavyweights, of course. Come on, Prophet. What happened? Last show, what did you say?
I guaranteed a victory for David Price. I actually almost predicted the round. I said it wouldn't go past the 7th round. You so eloquently pointed out that you thought Tony Thompson would outbox David Price, and in a way, you know, you were right. You picked the winner of the fight, but it turned out to be a barroom brawl type of fight. I saw the fight on my computer screen. It was kind of foggy, but I did the best that I could, and it was basically to me, as far as I'm concerned, it was the third best fight I've seen this year, other than Bradley against Provetnikov and Rios Alvarado too. This was the third most enjoyable fight I've seen this past year. I thought Price had Thompson when he knocked him down in the second round with an overhand right, and then he should have been credited with a second knockdown when he landed another vicious right hand, and the ropes clearly held up Thompson, but the referee didn't see it.
It was a slip. It was a slip. What are you talking about? That was just a slip.
I thought the ropes clearly held up Thompson. Even if you slip, if the ropes hold you up, the referee can score the knockdown if he chooses to. But, I'll go with you. I'll humor you. We'll say, it was a slip. And I think Price just completely ran out of gas. I think like the boxing prophet himself, that would be me. I think he just thought he was going to run over Thompson. He didn't take Thompson seriously in the first match. He just thought that he would impose his will on Tony Thompson. And I think Price fought the wrong game plan. He could have used his jab. He could have boxed more. He's had an enormously successful amateur career, but the pride of David Price cost him this fight. On several occasions he hurt Thompson. Thompson hurt Price on numerous occasions. That's what made the fight so exciting. Like I alluded to before, it was like two guys who were drunken sailors fighting in a bar, just slugging away, hurting each other back and forth. There was no scientific brilliance in this fight. It was whoever wanted more. It was straight out of, I guess, a Rocky movie. It was basically will over skill. Whoever wanted more in this fight would come away with the W, and Price completely ran out of gas. He was huffing and puffing after the fourth round, and he was basically left for dead in the fifth. The referee had no choice but to stop it. And 41-year-old Tony Thompson, the much older fighter, the more fresher fighter of the two, comes away with the victory, and David Price joins a long list of heavyweights like Michael Grant and David Tua and Shannon Briggs, who were anointed as the next great big thing, and they all turned out to be the next great farce. And the boxing prophet is humbled, and whoever wants to call in and I don't want to say insult me, but give me my give Christy all the credit in the world, and tell me I was wrong.
All right, Prophet, hold on a second. I think we have Clarence, and I want him to weigh in on this. Is this Clarence? Right. Hello.
Yeah. How you doing?
Hey, Clarence. Welcome to Real Combat Media Boxing Radio. This is Clarence Nixon. Why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, I'm 28 from Washington, D.C. Been a boxing fan since about 98. I follow the sport pretty closely, and I enjoy speaking about it. Normally, I do this with my friends, and none of them seem to know what I'm talking about. So,
Yeah, I know. That's why you have to get around people that actually know about boxing. And we're really happy to have you here. And I want you to kind of weigh in on, did you see David Price, Tony Thompson fight?
Yes, I did. I watched it online.
Okay, well, who did you have before the fight started?
Well, being so that I'm from D.C., I was pulling for Thompson. He's a, hometown fighter or whatnot. And I didn't expect it to, end the way it ended because Price did start off pretty good,
Yes, he did. I can hear you.
And, from watching Thompson when he fought Klitschko, I didn't think that, he would be able to, weather the storm or whatnot. And, he got through the early onslaught and, I was shocked, but at the same time, I'm happy for him. And Price.
Okay, Clarence. So that means in reality, even though you wanted Thompson, you thought David Price was going to win, didn't you?
Yeah, early on, man, it just looked like Price had more, had more to offer as far as his skill set. He just looked more dynamic or whatnot.
Okay, so wait a second. We have the Boxing Prophet on. He's my co-host. And he also thought that David Price would win. But, I knew Tony would win before we even got there. Prophet, what do you think? You have Clarence here. You both were going for David Price.
I thought David Price would win the fight. Like I said before, he had a great amateur career. He had so much potential, and it's just the typical heavyweight from England. A man with great power, but obviously no chin. He comes from. If I had to compare him to another fighter from England, maybe he'd be like Frank Bruno. Not as chiseled, but I remember Frank Bruno back in the day hurt Mike Tyson, wobbled him, but ultimately his chin betrayed him. And now Price is a foregone conclusion as far as I'm concerned. He's an afterthought in the heavyweight division. Now I think he goes back to the drawing board, and it's going to take a lot, and I mean a lot, for David Price to climb back into the heavyweight rankings, whereas Tony Thompson, sure, he lost to Vladimir Klitschko twice, but I think since the older Klitschko brother, Vitaly, has said that he'll only fight maybe one or two more times tops because he wants to pursue a career in politics, definitely you could make a case that Tony Thompson indeed has earned a shot at Vitaly Klitschko for the heavyweight championship of the world by beating David Price 2 consecutive times.
All right. Prophet, you didn't even say hello to Clarence here. Where's your manners?
I'm sorry, Clarence. It's not every day. You're on a historical show, Clarence. It's not every day where the boxing prophet guarantees a victory for a fighter, and it comes to bite him back in the rear end, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, because I won this one, and I never claimed to be a prophet. Okay, it was just a good guess, and maybe a little more than a good guess, a little knowledge mixed up with the guess. What do you think, Clarence, of all this?
You
okay?
mean as far as I'm sorry?
Whatever. About us, about the show, about Price and Thompson, whatever you want to talk about.
Oh man, I've enjoyed the show, and I think in Price's defense, the fact that both of his losses came against the same person, that could actually work for him, because it's not like he was brutally knocked out by two different fighters. So he may look at it as maybe this guy has my number. So that actually could work in his favor, and maybe he just won't fight Thompson again.
It definitely worked in Tony Thompson's favor, not David Price. But you're right. Sometimes if that happens, you kind of get weak in the knees and you say that you're going to come back and have redemption, and you get intimidated again. Because David Price, great boxer. He's got the height, he's got the jab. When he used the jab, it's very effective. But, Tony Thompson definitely had his number for the second time. So, Clarence, you think they're going to fight again for number 3?
No, it doesn't need to happen, man, because when you're knocked out, back-to-back times, there's no reason for a third fight. There's no reason for a rubber match. I think Price should just, look onto other avenues or whatnot. Still within boxing, but just stay away from Thompson,
Stay away from Thompson. You hear that, Prophet? What do you think?
I agree wholeheartedly, and it's just not that he lost to the same fighter twice. It's how he lost. In both fights, he showed an inability to handle adversity. He was winning the first fight. He got caught with a right hand behind the ear, and that was it. And he was also winning the second fight. He knocked him down in the second round. He had him out on his feet on more than one occasion, and he wound up losing. So when the tough get going, David Price folds, and there's no room in the heavyweight division for a fighter like that who folds. Sure, he might score a couple of victories. And by the way, his promoter Frank Maloney was in absolute tears in the post-fight interview. I guess David Price is not only his meal ticket, but he's like a son to Maloney. But I think if you're his promoter, you put him in there with a couple of tomato cans, you build up his self-esteem, He pulls off maybe 3 or 4 first-round knockouts, but I don't think he'll ever be the same. I think mentally, when he's in there with a guy who, let's face it, fights back, he's going to lose. You know, he feasted on a bunch of English heavyweights like Audley Harrison, who are way past their prime. And the first legitimate battle he faced, the first live body who stood in front of him and traded back punches, that being Tony Thompson, not only did he lose, but he lost convincingly twice. So I think this is pretty much the end of the road. I dare say that David Price will never, ever sniff a world heavyweight title shot.
Well, did you see Lennox Lewis? He was practically in the corner telling him what to do. He was very upset as well. You guys see Lennox Lewis?
Oh, yeah, I caught that.
You caught that, Clarence? What did you think?
Yeah,
you think Lennox was you think he was shouting instructions to David?
Yeah, I think that Lennox tried to, breathe some life into him, but it's like Thompson said, you're not going to change David Price in one training camp. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I definitely saw that in Lennox,
Lennox looked good, too. You know what, Clarence? Lennox looked good. I thought he could have taken off his jacket, put on some trunks, and gotten in there with Tony Thompson.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a strong supporter of Lennox Lewis. I would still pick him against maybe any heavyweight right now.
Whoa, what about Vladimir Klitschko? He's fighting soon. He's fighting against Alexander Povetkin on October 5th in Russia. You think we could put Lennox with Vladimir?
Oh, that would be interesting. I was kind of joking when I said that. I
can't
really
joke. What do you think, Prophet? Should we get Lennox Lewis back in there, or we should just let Klitschko and Povetkin fight each other?
I would love to see Lewis make a comeback. And for the record, I was thinking of you during the fight because we had this spirited debate over who was going to win. And I was saying to myself, all right, Price proved that he could hurt Thompson just like he did the first time around. Use the jab and stay away from him. Why engage in a brawl? And I think that's what Lennox Lewis was trying to convey to David Price. And for years, I've been a big Lewis fan, and all the naysayers tell me that Vitali was on his way to knocking out Lennox Lewis. And I tell those people, watch it on YouTube, and you'll see that with about 5 seconds left in round 6, Lennox Lewis landed a brutal right hand that violently snapped Vitali's head back. They stopped the fight on cuts because the right hand was so brutal. And I think Vitali was ahead on the judges' scorecards. I think it was 4 rounds to 2. I had it a draw 3 rounds apiece. But I think Lennox Lewis in his prime would have beaten both Klitschko brothers. That's just my own humble opinion.
Well, you're right about David Price. He definitely had the wrong game plan with Thompson. I mean, with that jab, and if he could have just stuck to that, moved, kept him on the outside. But Thompson was, I think it was better than a barroom brawl because he would just go to the, the body. He would go to the head, and he made Price so tired. All the running in England didn't help Price during that fight. So, go ahead.
No, you make a great point. The body attack of Thompson was what ultimately led to Price's downfall, that and his inability to take a punch to the chin. But, I just think Price is one of these heavyweights who's overhyped. Everyone looks good when they're in there with a guy who doesn't punch back. But this was Price's, litmus test. Can he come back and avenge his only defeat as a pro and prove to the world that the first fight was nothing more than a fluke? But now he goes back to the drawing board, and I just think his fans are devastated, and it's going to take a big win, a win of Herculean proportion to get his fans back on his bandwagon. I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
So about Thompson, what do you think? Does Klitschko give Thompson another try? Thompson and Klitschko fought. Thompson was TKO'd in the 6th round. What do you think? Is Klitschko going to say, okay, let me give him another chance?
Well, the younger Klitschko already beat him twice, so it really doesn't behoove him to face Thompson. He's going to face Alexander Povetkin next, and what's really going to turn out to be the most fascinating heavyweight title fight of the past 3 or 4 years. But I think the older brother, Vitaly, should give Tony Thompson a shot. He's a guy who, I said a couple of moments ago, is looking to fade off into the sunset. He's dabbling in politics in the Ukraine, probably only, and has stated on numerous occasions, he only has 1 or 2 fights left in him. Why not give Thompson a shot at the heavyweight title? He certainly deserves it based on the fact that he knocked out David Price twice. So I think Vitaly Klitschko, not Vladimir, but Vitaly Klitschko against Tony Thompson would be a fascinating matchup, even though I think Vitaly would win because he's got a better chin than the younger brother Vladimir, and he hits harder than the younger brother Vladimir. So I think Thompson is a little bit in over his head if he does fight Vitaly. But listen, he's an American, and I would certainly root for him to pull off the upset if that fight ever happens.
So but you'd still go for Vitaly, right? So that means I'd have to go for Thompson again? See what happens?
Yeah, let me tell you this. If Tony Thompson beats Vitaly Klitschko and wins the heavyweight championship of the world, I think we should devote a whole 2-hour show to Christy Rosario. That's what we should do if Thompson pulls off that.
Oh, my God. I don't think anyone wants to listen to me for 2 hours having a monologue, but I'm excited because in 2 weeks, Tony is going to show. So when he comes on, we can tell him what happened. What do you think, Prophet?
Absolutely. I will give him the whole Wayne's World, we're not worthy treatment.
Okay, good.
Well,
he deserves that, after you kind of like the door in his face. So I'm glad. My gosh, Tony Thompson in 2 weeks is going to come on and really talk to us about the fight in England with David Price. Thank goodness it didn't go to a decision because who knows what happened at that point. He was smart. Yeah, see? What do you think, Clarence, about going to decision in England in America?
Oh, yeah, decision in England? No, that's not good. That's not good. He did the right thing. And, he turned it on when he got him hurt. And, that's what you're supposed to do when you're that far away from your home,
You know what? We have actually a question on chat here from Black Wright. He or she is asking, what do you guys think about Seth Mitchell against the Klitschko? What do you think, Prophet?
Seth Mitchell against who? I didn't catch that.
Against one of the Klitschkos.
I think Seth Mitchell, even though he got his revenge on Jonathan Banks, turned in a very uninspired performance. It was more of what Jonathan Banks didn't do than what Seth Mitchell did do. Banks treated the fight like it was a glorified sparring session. Every time he landed clean shots on Mitchell, he hurt him. He just didn't follow up. Mitchell has the physique of a heavyweight that could pose a threat to the Klitschko brothers, but he's a long, long way from earning a title shot. He needs to face top 10. He hasn't even been in the ring yet with a top 10 heavyweight. He needs to face guys like Chris Arreola would be a good litmus test for Seth Mitchell. Jennings would be another good test for him. Let him beat some guys that are in the top 10 or the top 20 and let him earn a shot at one of the Klitschko brothers. Right now, I think both Klitschko brothers would annihilate Seth Mitchell.
What do you think, Clarence? You want to answer this question?
Yeah, I agree. Right now, when I watch Seth Mitchell, I still see him as a prospect. And at this point in his career, with his age or whatnot, he should be a little higher than that. So if you were to put him in with a Klitschko right now, I don't see it going more than 4 or 5 rounds because he's there to be hit. And, I think he does have things he has to work on, So it would be good to see him in the ring with a durable guy, somebody comparable to him in size, you know what I mean, that he can't just, take their best shot and keep coming forward, Right.
Well, that was a good question by Black Wright. If anyone has questions, you can chat with me right here, or you can always call in at, and I lost my number. See, I'm inviting you guys to call in. Here we go. You can call you can call in at 347-324-5998. Again, 347-324-5998. I like that. I like getting questions that we can answer. Tony Thompson and David Price, or Seth Mitchell, or and Povetkin that you guys want to talk about? Because Abner Mares is going to come in at 6 o'clock your time. So anything else, guys? Clarence, do you have anything else out of our topics that we should talk about?
What you guys think about what is Thompson and Seth Mitchell for? I mean,
Thompson and Seth Mitchell. What do you think, Prophet?
It's a curious fight. I'd rather see Seth Mitchell face a guy like Deontay Wilder, where both guys have great power, and it probably would end before the start of the third round. Whoever lands first would score the knockout victory. But I don't know if Thompson wants to risk, believe it or not, fighting Seth Mitchell, even though I think he would school Seth Mitchell and win an easy decision. I think Thompson should capitalize on both of his victories over David Price by calling out Vitaly Klitschko. I think he's earned the right for a big payday and a heavyweight title shot, and I think he deserves it. As far as the younger Klitschko goes, I'm fascinated by the Povetkin-Klitschko matchup, which will take place in Russia. So Klitschko's actually going on the road in Povetkin's home country. And
yes, he is, because Klitschko, well, hold on a second. If you're going to say that, you got to tell them that Klitschko is from Kazakhstan. You know, people think that they're Russian, but of course they're in the same area, but they're from two different countries. Klitschko is from Kazakhstan, and Povetkin is Russian, and they're going to fight in Russia. So now you can continue.
Yes, and a lot of people, including myself, got a chance to see Povetkin face. At the time, it was the cruiserweight champ who moved up in weight class to challenge Povetkin, and that was Marco Huck. I thought Povetkin got a gift decision. I scored the fight 8-4 for Huck. Since then, Povetkin has looked a lot better, put a lot more power behind his punches, but I think the fact that a lot of people on social media have been saying that Povetkin is doing anything and everything to duck Klitschko, I think Klitschko is going to be very, very motivated for this fight. And I think Klitschko will go down as one of the more underrated heavyweight champions of all time. Other than Joe Louis and Larry Holmes, he's third all-time in heavyweight title defenses. I believe he's got 14 or 15 successful title defenses. And it's not his fault that this era's heavyweights haven't produced any great fighters, but I think he's going to beat Povetkin decisively, and I think he's going to go for the quick knockout. I think he wants to silence his naysayers once and for all by destroying Povetkin in Russia, and I would be shocked, unless Povetkin does some running and some holding, I would be shocked if this fight goes past the 7th round. I think this is going to be Klitschko's defining fight as heavyweight champion of the world, and I think he's going to destroy Povetkin in one-sided fashion.
Well, Povetkin's never lost. Don't forget that, you know. And out of his 26 wins, he has 18 KOs. So, you know, that's quite a prediction.
Well,
okay. Well, go ahead, Clarence.
I was just going to say that Klitschko, throughout his career, even his title reign, he's fought a few guys that hadn't lost, and you know, they ended up losing after he fought them. So.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Well, you guys, I'm going to go to the commercial, and we're going to come back with Abner Mares. Clarence, you're going to hang out?
Yes, definitely.
All right, very good. Thank you. It's good to have you on the show. Prophet, we know you're not going anywhere, so we are going to call and go to a commercial, call Abner Mares, have him on, and then we'll continue with our topics and also have Lamon Brewster coming up as well a little later. All right, you guys, don't go anywhere. We will be back.
This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check Check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started.
Welcome back to Real Combat Media Boxing Radio, episode 21. I'm your host, Christy Rosario, here in London with the Boxing Prophet. He's from New York City, and we have Clarence Nixon. He's on our panel guest today from Washington, D.C. You can call in at 347-324-5998, 347-5998, or you can Twitter us at Real Combat Media. My Twitter is Boxing Girl, BXINGIRL. We have the Boxing Prophet 68 on Twitter, and Facebook, Real Combat Media in the search bar. And I want to say a big hello to Abner Mares. I did remember your name, Abner. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
I'm so glad. You're going for the WBC featherweight title, so I was thinking about WBC featherweight. I was thinking about Abner Mares, and they kind of came together. And that's why I sounded like I forgot.
Hello?
Are you there? Hi.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you
I'm
hear
sorry.
me?
You're recording now. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah, I'm defending my title, WBC featherweight title, August 24th, and I'm excited. I'm excited to fight and give you guys a different Abner come August 24th.
That's right. You are fighting Johnny Gonzalez. Gosh, he has 46. Wow, he's an 8-3. So he's got 54 wins, 46 by knockout, 8 losses, and he's been knocked out times. And then let's get your record. Abner's 126, KO'd 14, never lost, and 1 draw. So, I mean, he has a lot of experience, don't you think?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, he does. He's almost at 60 fights. He's not an older fighter. He's in his middle 30s.
He's 31. You're right.
Yeah, 30. Yeah, exactly 31. He's still young for all those fights. But he's an experienced fighter. He's a guy I know really well. It's funny because I actually helped him out when he fought a while back. When he fought Israel Vasquez, I was his sparring partner, and I wasn't a world champion yet. I was a up and comer, and I was helping him to get ready for his world title. So it's funny how things work out, and now I'm fighting Johnny Gonzalez come August 24th. A tough fight against, like I said, a experienced fighter, good friend, and the fans are gonna win because they're gonna get a spectacular fight from both of us.
See, that's what people don't realize is that you can be good friends in business. Did I lose you, Abner?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. You keep kind of going, but then you get in the ring and it's business, isn't it?
Exactly, and the same thing that happened with me with Ponce de Leon, my last fight. It's a guy I shared a ring with. I shared a house years back. I know him really well. I know his family, and I had to fight him. But
you share a manager.
Yeah, we share managers. It's tough. It's tough. But once you get in there, it's like I tell anyone. I mean, everyone's gotten into fights with family members, even brothers, and or anyone. As soon as you feel a punch or someone coming, towards you with bad intentions, you're gonna respond. So once you get in that ring, it's the same thing. It's a job. It's your work, and you just got to perform and give the fans a good fight, and that's exactly what I did in my last fight, and exactly what I'm going to do come August 24th.
Right. But you're right, because I used to fight too, and people would say, well, how can you do that? There wasn't so many people there. You get in there, beat them, and then you go have dinner. Doesn't matter.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and what about you and Danielle? I think I keep losing you.
Yeah, it's kind of breaking up.
Are you there, Abner? I think I lost him. Who's on the line? Clarence?
Yeah, I'm still here. It was kind of breaking up for the last few minutes, though.
I'm here.
It has been, huh? You're here. I lost Abner. Let me try and call him back. Prophet, why don't you talk a little bit about Abner for a moment, and we'll get him back.
All right. Like he stated earlier, Abner Mares will defend his WBC featherweight title on August 24th against Johnny Gonzalez. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Johnny Gonzalez has power in both hands, but just when it seems that he's turning the page in his career, early in his career he knocked out former champion Mark Too Sharp Johnson in the 8th round, holds a split decision win over Fernando Montiel, and he also knocked out Irene Pacheco in the 9th round, and it seems like he's on his way to making a name for himself in the boxing industry. He gets stopped by Daniel Ponce de Leon, who, oddly enough, Abner Mares beat in his last fight. Ponce de Leon stopped Johnny Gonzalez in the 8th round. Also, Israel Vasquez stopped Gonzalez in the 10th round. And Jerry Penalosa holds a TKO victory in 7 rounds over Johnny Gonzalez. So Gonzalez
All right.
is not known. Are you back, Chris?
Abner back. So
okay.
Where he's back, ask him a question. I think he's back. Abner, are you back?
Yeah. Hello. I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. So Prophet, I know you have a question for Abner. Go ahead.
Yeah. First, let me say, Abner, it must be kind of bittersweet for you knowing that fight fans, hardcore fight fans, including myself, were dying to see you in the ring against Nonito Donaire, and then to see Rigondeaux just embarrass Donaire, and now you can't seem to fight him because of the pointless Golden Boy Aaron promotion feud. Was it indeed bittersweet watching Donaire get embarrassed by Rigondeaux? Well, what was going through the back of your mind when you were watching that fight?
No, you know what? I mean, I wanted to fight either fighter. I've always said, and there was, talks of a possible fight against Donaire. As a matter of fact, there was, contracts going, back and forth being sent, and then, a fight never happened. And then seeing those two guys face each other, I mean, it was obvious. It was that for Nonito. People wanted to see it. It was a lot easier to make. And, I was just like any other friend enjoying the fight. It was a tremendous fight. Rigondeaux showed an explosive defensive fighter, and he wowed us. He wowed a lot of us, and including me. He's a great fighter, and again, a fighter I would like to face in the future. And I know, but it's hard. It's hard to. I've been, and I want to say, I've been getting a lot of people talking bad, saying, Abner, why are you calling all these fighters out, when you can't fight them? And the reason I do it is because I want people to really know that I wouldn't mind fighting them, including Mikey Garcia, Nonito Donaire, and Rigondeaux. I will fight any of them, but it's not in my hands. I can't do anything about that. I would love to, but it's just the promotions that aren't working together.
Well, wait, Abner, I'm sorry, I was dealing with the audio problem. So if you answered this, let me know. Does everybody know that you actually fought Guillermo Rigondeaux in the Pan American Games? Did we mention that yet?
A few people know. Yeah, a few people know. I know there's been talks on Twitter, on Facebook. And yes, I did fight Guillermo Rigondeaux. I fought him in the Pan American Games in 2003.
In the championship,
and, that was,
mind you.
Yeah, it was the championship rounds. And like I say, he beat me. It was a good fight, close fight. But one thing I want to mention is I was 17 at the time, and he must have been 20-something. He is older than me. So, I mean, that's the difference, the experience he had back then. And, times changed. I think I'm a different Abner, and it would be an interesting fight.
I don't know if it's Abner's phone or if it's us. Can you hear us, Prophet? Oh, I lost you for a second. Okay. Maybe it's I don't know if it's your phone, Abner. Are you kind of like on the cell phone outside?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Well, we're glad when we have you come back in. So let's just tell everyone, though, because I think that's pretty awesome that you were 17 years old and he was like 20-something. You got the silver medal. I mean, this was a championship round. I mean, that is something to be proud of, not something to, so what if you didn't win? Now you're in the pros. I think it would be fun to watch you if you wouldn't mind going down a little bit in weight again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I said I wouldn't mind just for that fight in particular, Rigondeaux to go down to 122. I wouldn't. Any other fight, I wouldn't. I'll stay at 126. I feel comfortable here. But for that fight, just to make the fans happy, I'm willing to. But again, it's just talks. I don't think it would happen because of the promotions. But I just wanted to get it out there. I want people to know that I'm willing and I would fight Rigondeaux.
Well, so this is a real problem that there's so many fighters that you could be fighting, but since they're with a different promotions, you can't now.
Exactly. I mean, it's out of my hands. I can't do anything about that. I mean, I could go and tell my promotion and tell them I want this fight, and yeah, they'll look for it, and they did try to look for it, and they offered Nonito X amount of money, and they try to make it happen. But what happened? Bob Arum didn't want to take it. He said no. Oh, I mean, it's either one works or the other one, or both of them have to work together. It just can't be just one promotion trying to make this happen.
It's really a shame because we just want to see good fights. We don't want to have to see, like this where there's a stalemate. So do you feel like it's hard in the future then to get good fights?
I'm sorry, what was the last thing? I didn't hear it.
Abner, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I was just saying, so do you feel like it's going to be hard then to get real good competitive fights for yourself?
Yeah, it's just going to be hard. It's something that's out of my hands. But again, you never know. You never know. I have a year left with Golden Boy. With this, I'm not saying I'm going to leave Golden Boy, but you never know. I got to look after my career myself as well. And who knows, maybe later on in the future.
Has Golden Boy, have they treated you well?
Golden Boy has treated me great. I'm their first full-grown champion from zero to a world champion. Well, now 3-time world champion, thank God. I'm their first, and so far I've been treated nothing but, I've been getting nothing but respect out of Golden Boy, good fights. I got nothing bad to say about him. And that's why I'm not saying that I would leave him, because I'm so comfortable here. But then again, the good fights are with the other company. But so far, Golden Boy has given me good fights.
With top rank?
I'm sorry?
With Top Rank you're talking about, right? You were saying that, there's a lot of good fighters with Top Rank. Did I lose him again? I lost him again. Prophet, you're there?
I'm here.
Hello? Okay. Well, I think his connection is just really badly, because you can hear me, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, it sometimes it fades in and out, but for the most part, I can hear you. Yes.
And Clarence, you're clear. You're there.
Yeah, I'm cheaping out. It's fading in and out, and I'm trying to.
I know. It's a shame. All right, I should try and call him again. Why don't we go commercial, try Abner, and then I will come right back. You guys stay there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started.
All right, guys, we're back, and I see that you guys are all being quiet. All right, we're back with Real Combat Media Boxing Radio, episode 21. I'm your host, Chris, with the Boxing Prophet from New York City and Clarence Nixon from Washington, D.C. You can call us at 347-324-5998. Twitter us at Real Combat Media. Combat Media in the search bar. So do we have you guys back, Prophet?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. Okay, because we lost Abner, tried to call him back, and it went right to voicemail, so maybe something happened with this one. Abner, we thank you for coming on. I would like to have a longer discussion with you, hopefully another time, but you're welcome to call us back at 347-324-5998. Sorry you guys didn't get to ask many questions. So what do you guys think? What do you think, Clarence, of time world champion?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, and I was going to give Abner Mares.
I said Clarence, Prophet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said Clarence. Okay, Clarence, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll see if you can run that question back again. It broke up a little bit.
Oh, I said, what did you think of our three-time world champion, Abner Mares?
Oh man, I like it. I like the fact that he let everybody know his willingness to to fight anyone. That fans love that when they hear the fighter actually say it, because when we don't hear them say it, we think they're ducking this person and that person. So I thought that was good or whatnot. And I also think that his next opponent is almost like I'm not knocking Gonzalez or anything, but when you look at Mares' last few opponents, it's almost like a breath of fresh air that he gets to fight a more normal guy,
Right. What do you think, Prophet?
Well, I was saying when you tried to call him back that
Prophet
Gonzalez. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I was pointing out that just when it seemed that Johnny Gonzalez had, turned the page of his professional career with impressive victories over Mark Johnson and Fernando Montiel and Irene Pacheco, he gets stopped by Daniel Ponce de Leon and Jerry Penalosa and Israel Vasquez. I think he's there to be hit for Abner Mares. I think Mares will look just as good, if not better, than he did in his last fight. against Daniel Ponce de Leon, and if we can get him on the line, I was, Christy, going to give him the highest form of praise because, as you know, I study boxing like an art form, and I constantly am updating my profits pound-for-pound list. And I check other media outlets, and I'm flabbergasted and, quite frankly, disgusted that a lot of these so-called pound-for-pound lists don't have Abner Mares in their top 5. Forget about top 10, top 5. And the reason why I say this is you don't really put a fighter on your pound-for-pound list based on talent alone. It's also based on resume. And when you look at his last 7 fights, he single-handedly cleaned out the bantamweight division, the Showtime bantamweight tournament, by beating the likes of Yanni Perez, Vic Darkinian, and Joseph Agabeko twice, which is not easy to do. He destroyed former champion Eric Burrell to successfully defend his bantamweight title. Destroyed what a lot of people thought could beat Abner Mares, or at least challenge him, in Acelino Moreno. I remember Moreno had a great jab, long arms. A lot of people thought he was going to give Abner Mares fits. Mares destroyed him and won an easy decision. In his last fight, he destroyed Daniel Ponce de Leon and stopped him in the 9th round. Now he's moving on to Johnny Gonzalez. I mean, how often does a fighter do this? Take a calculated risk 7 times, 8 times in a row. The last fighter to do this, I think, in any weight class, and we've discussed this on the show, Christy, is Carl Frost when he was in the super middleweight tournament, and he was fighting everybody from Arthur Abraham to Miguel Kessler to Andre Ward. To me, that's what puts a guy in your pound-for-pound list. Not only talent, but resume. Who have you fought? And you know, obviously the outcome of all these fights matter also, and he is undefeated, Abner Mares. So that is, to me, the fact that he's undefeated and he walked away from all those challenges victorious says a great deal about his heart, his character, and his willingness to fight everybody. And to me, he's definitely in my top 5 pound for pound.
Anything to say about that, Clarence?
Yeah, I don't dispute that. That sounds about right. I think the fact that he now that he's a featherweight, and you have more marquee names in that division, and you had at 118. I think that'll help him gain more respect as far as the pound for pound goes.
Right. Yeah, I would. Either something happened with our reception or his phone died, but hopefully he'll come back on again. He's a great fighter. I wanted to also talk to him about his trainer and his fighting style and his training in Los Angeles as well. And we will have to another day. I don't know, Prophet. What do you think?
It would be great. And let me just say for the record that if the Nonito Donaire fight or the Rigondeaux fight never materializes, he said he would like to fight Mikey Garcia. And in a perfect world, what a war that would be. 2 young, great champions going at it. But also, to make the Mikey Garcia fight more enticing, I wouldn't mind seeing Abner Mares fight Chris John. Chris John's a fighter from Indonesia who holds the victory of a legendary Juan Manuel Marquez, and he's one of the longest-reigning champions in boxing today. I think Chris John has made something like 16 title defenses. The problem is I don't think Abner Mares wants to go overseas, but I think to make the Mikey Garcia fight more marketable, if he should beat Chris John and then fight Mikey Garcia, I think it would be a fight that all boxing fans would look forward to. Christy, are you with me? Well, we seem to be having some technical difficulties, so I'll just talk more about Abner Mares. It's a shame that politics plays a role in making boxing matches, because the whole world was looking forward to an Abner Mares, Nito Donaire fight. It never materialized, like I said before, because of the pointless feud between Golden Boy and Top Rank. And now Rigondeaux exposed Donaire and dominated him. And I don't see, maybe Donaire moves up, maybe Abner Mares moves down to face Rigondeaux, I'm not sure. But he has plenty of options. Mikey Garcia's a quality featherweight. Chris John, like I just stated, has defended his portion of the featherweight title forever. Seems like he's been featherweight champion now for close to, I think 10 years now. But it will be interesting to see what Abner Mares does after he fights, and I think ultimately he will defeat Johnny Gonzalez. I think he stops Johnny Gonzalez within 8 or 9 rounds. Gonzalez has some power, can punch with both hands, but ultimately he's not that good of a defensive fighter. And I think if Abner Mares wants to, he could actually use his jab and put on a boxing clinic on Johnny Gonzalez. But I think, like he said at the early part of his interview, you're going to see the new Abner Mares, the Abner Mares that wants to put people in the seats by scoring impressive TKO victories one after the other. So I think he'll actually abandon his jab for some of the fight, and then maybe go after Johnny Gonzalez and look to stop him early. And I'm not sure if we have Christy back on the line yet. We still might be having technical difficulties. Christy,
I'm back. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes. I was just telling the listeners basically the options that Abner Mares has. Whether he
am I clear now? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you're perfect.
Yeah, you're a lot clearer now.
Okay, well, okay. I just, you know what? This technology is just annoying. So sorry about that, but I am back. And I did hear a bunch of what you were talking about, Prophet. It was great that you just kept talking. And did Clarence say anything too?
I think Clarence was listening, and I wanted to get his feedback on what he thinks Abner Mares should do, assuming he beats Johnny Gonzalez. And for the record, I think he will. I think we're seeing this new side of Abner Mares, the Abner Mares that, liked to box like he did early in his career against Victor Tinian and Joseph Agabeco, is gone. He wants to put fans in the seats. He wants to impress more and more with each outing. And I think his fight against Gonzalez will be easier than the fight against Ponce de Leon. And I think he'll win relatively easy. I think he'll stop Gonzalez, and hopefully he'll move on. And I'd like to see him before he even thinks about fighting Mikey Garcia. I'd like to see him fight Chris John, because I made a point while you were dealing with the technical issues that it seems like Chris John has been featherweight champion for 10 years now. I think he's got something like 16 title defenses. He holds a win over Juan Manuel Marquez. To this day, Juan Manuel Marquez has publicly stated that with the exception of Floyd Mayweather, Chris John is the only man to legitimately beat him cleanly in a decision victory. So I think it would be interesting to see Abner Mares against a pure boxer like a Chris John. What do you think of that, Clarence?
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting fight. It would be a very risky fight, as well, because Chris John isn't really known outside of the hardcore boxing public. So it would be taking a major risk, but it would prove a lot, as far as Mares' ability to adapt or whatnot. It would prove a lot, but that would be a major risk, because like you said, John is he's had that title for a long time, like you said, something like 10 years. So I like to see him, against guys that that he has more to gain from. Because if he fights John and he wins, some people might say, who is Chris John? Whereas if he fights somebody like even
Mikey
somebody
Garcia?
like somebody like, well, that's a major risk as well. But if he were to fight Garcia and win, people know who Garcia is. Even though Garcia, on paper isn't as proven as John as far as title defenses go. That's why I say it'd be a higher risk if he were to fight John. But, I mean, that does sound like a good fight. It would prove a lot, though. But, what about Gary Russell? I mean, I don't hear his name mentioned much as far as an opponent goes,
Gary Russell seems to be the invisible man in the featherweight division. He's got one of the fastest hands I've seen in boxing over the past couple of years, but his level of opposition hasn't been there. I think his promoters and his management are taking him very, very slowly and cautiously, and I think he really needs to elevate his opponents. He's got to find a guy who's in the top 20 in the featherweight division. Most of his victories are against obscure fighters who hardcore boxing fans have never even heard of. So I think Gary Russell is the type of opponent where maybe 1 or 2 years down the road, I think Abner Mares takes that challenge. But, you make a good point, Clarence, about Chris John. For the most part, he fights in his home country, in Indonesia, fights overseas. Only the most hardcore boxing fans know who he is. But I just think it would be great if Abner Mares could fight him and end that lengthy reign, and it would just add to the marketability of a Garcia fight. And I'm also a huge fan of Mikey Garcia, but he only has 2 great names on his resume: Orlando Salido and Juan Manuel Lopez. Other than that, Mikey Garcia is still, even though he's champion, I hate to say he's still a work in progress because he is improving with each fight, but he doesn't have the resume of an Abner Mares. At least Chris John, you could say on paper, he's defended the title for close to a decade now, and there are some people who still, even though Ring Magazine recognizes Mikey Garcia as the best featherweight in the world, and I believe Chris John may be the second best. I don't know. I think Abner Mares should take that risk and fight Chris John and then go after Garcia. But we'll see. First, he's got to get past Johnny Gonzalez on August 24th, which I think he will in exciting and dramatic fashion.
All right. There you have it. So, Abner Mares and Johnny Gonzalez on August 24th at Carson, California, just right down the street from my house. So I may be there. We shall see. Coming up, we're going to have a former world champion heavyweight, one of 3 that beat Klitschko, and he's going to come on in just a minute, Lamon Brewster. So please don't go away. We're going to go to a commercial. We're going to come right back, and we'll talk to you soon.
This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started.
Welcome back to Real Combat Media Boxing Radio, episode 21. I'm your host, Christy Rosario, here in Los Angeles, with the Boxing Prophet from New York City and our panel guest today, Mr. Clarence Dixon from Washington, D.C. You can call us at 347-324-5998. You can Twitter us at Real Combat Media. My Twitter is Boxing Girl, BXINGIRL. And the Boxing Prophet is Boxing Prophet 68. Or you can try us on Facebook at Real Combat Media in the search bar. And welcome back. And I'm really excited because not only is Guy a former heavyweight champion of the world, but you know what? He's my friend. And I miss him. He used to live in Los Angeles with us. Now he's all the way in the East Coast. And I want to introduce to you Lamon Brewster. Hey, Lamon, you there?
Hey, wow, what's going on? I was really impressed. Wow, you're. Let me tell you something. That is so impressive. Not only can you speak, you can fight, you can judge, you can referee, you can do it all. You know, like you need to start wearing a cape like Superman, or better yet, Wonder Woman.
Oh, you're so cute. I do have a superhero complex, so thank you for saying Wonder Woman. I like that. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. How are you guys doing?
All right. What's up, Mike? We're doing great.
That's Clarence
wonderful.
And the Boxing Prophet, Lamon. Just be careful because he's a little wavery today. He's a little sad because I beat him in the last prophecy. I said Tony Thompson was going to win, but you know what? He had the other guy. So, sorry.
Well,
what did you think of that?
I would
did you
like
see the fight, Lamon?
Yeah, I would like to interject and say that was just too much pressure to put on a young kid like David Price, who was a great fighter, who could have been he probably could have been an even better fighter had, they had just brought him all along and picked his fights just a little better. I don't think he was ready for Tony Thompson because Tony Thompson is a guy who is very dangerous. He was my top sparring partner for years. Matter of fact, he was one of the key people to help me to get ready to beat Vladimir Klitschko, and I know firsthand that guy can fight. He's tough. He's strong. He's got great endurance. He's a clean liver in terms of not being out in the street. He doesn't drink and all those type of things. And so to put him against a David Price and then to put Lennox Lewis behind David Price after coming from the Olympics, after losing Tony Thompson, what you did was you stacked his plate and you put so much pressure on him to go out and perform that he actually went out and beat himself like I thought he would do.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. We were talking about that because, David Price, just doesn't have that experience, and he didn't keep to whatever game plan his trainers have. He definitely didn't keep to it. But how can you when you have someone like Tony Thompson go into your body and your head? It's kind of hard to stick to the game plan.
Especially when you've been knocked out. I mean, what they should have done, they should have gave David Price a tune-up fight. Let him have a fight in between to get his confidence back. But instead, they persuaded him, that was just a lucky punch. But in the back of his mind, he still got fear in his heart because he got knocked out.
Very true. That's what, Prophet, isn't that what you said, that they should have given him a tune-up?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, or maybe that was Clarence. Was that you, Clarence? One of you said that.
I
don't know.
Okay.
I didn't.
All right, well, we'll move on then. So, Lamon, you left us in Los Angeles, and now, is it Maryland? Where are you?
I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, my hometown.
Oh, okay.
I've been
okay.
I left. I went to California in 1991, right out of high school, and then the day before this past Christmas, I had an epiphany to go home. So I didn't question it. I just came home, and lo and behold, I see that my city, it needs a lot of help because there are a lot of kids here that don't have any place to go. Their parents are working all the time, so they're out there in these streets and they're killing one another. And I hope that I can make a difference to let these kids know I came from where you came from, but all you got to do is make a difference in your life to try to do the right thing, which is stay in school and try to get yourself educated and learn a trade in this world.
So what are you doing? Are you actually going on the streets? Are you working in a community center? I know you're training. What are you doing for these kids?
I'm doing all the above. I'm doing everything that the city will allow me to do to just try to reach out to these kids, because a lot of times kids fall astray because they don't feel like they have anybody that they can relate to. But, you know, I was that same kid from the same neighborhood, from the same gangs. You know, I went through everything they went through, and the fact is that I did it, I made it, and so if I did it, they can do it. And I just want to be here to just help them not to give in to the temptations of life that, you know, are thrown at you, especially when you live in the inner city and your mom doesn't have money and you're struggling, your sister needs clothes, you're hungry. You know, you feel desperate, not a desperation. You always end up doing the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, you know, you're hungry, like you were saying, they're hungry, and then let's say someone comes over and says, hey, you know, you sell these pills for me and I'll give you this cash. I mean, it's hard. How do you get the kids to turn away from that?
Well, the only thing I can do is try to paint the picture, because I grew up with a lot of people that was probably smarter than me, bigger than me, stronger than me, you know, but I had faith and determination, and that was to be something in life that was positive, and that meant sacrificing, because to get anything in life, you have to sacrifice. And so what I'm really trying to do is just plant seeds of positivity in their minds, because they don't have anybody sometimes to just tell them, hey, think about it this way, or hey, don't do that. So at least if they do it, at least they can say somebody told them, you know. But a lot of these kids, believe it or not, they don't have anybody to say, hey, how you feeling today? Which is sometimes all the kid want to do is just feel like he's cared about. So sometimes he reaches out in the wrong way to get attention.
Yeah, exactly. You know, a lot of the parents have to work. There's a single parent. It's hard. I was just at the All-Indian Championships in Arizona, and it's the same thing as they're teaching these kids, come and they do the boxing, and they've had changes already, you know, that, you know, you can be in gangs. Not in gangs, you come to the boxing. People don't realize how progressive boxing is. It's such a great sport to keep kids out of gangs, away from drugs, maybe, let's say, not having sex too early, you know, all those things. Do you see that?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you might see that on the streets of. It did save your life, didn't it? You had a hard beginning.
Well, you know, I want to say this for the record, because I was going to the boxing gym after I got out of school and started hanging in the streets. I didn't get locked up with my friends. I didn't get shot. I didn't get a girl pregnant. By the time I came home from the gym, it was time to go home. It was time to go to bed. It was time to come home, do homework, and go to school the next day. And then when I realized most of my friends were going to jail, most of my friends were on drugs, most of my friends had kids, that was all because they had that time, because their parents was at work for them to get in trouble because they didn't have nowhere to go. They didn't have nothing to do. And then because I was doing boxing, it made me very confident that when somebody tried to bully me, which is a very big problem, instead of taking a gun and shooting him and throwing my life away, I could look at the bully in his face and say, okay, man, you're tough. All right, brother, you know, and walk away. Whereas a lot of these kids are scared because they don't know how to defend themselves, so they're going to do the actual best, which is the worst thing they can do, get a gun. And then they're going to go, and they probably don't mean to shoot that person, but that person is probably going to try to bully them, so they're going to end up dead. That kid is going to throw his life away, and we're just going to keep repeating this circle of life. But at least when a kid comes to the gym, and I can teach them to feel good about themselves, teach them that bullies don't really think they're tough. They just like to feel good about themselves. It makes them feel good to see someone afraid of them. So when I teach them to stand up for themselves, no matter how big or how small, then they realize that the bully won't mess with them anymore, because the bully don't want to fight. He just want to look tough so he can get respect in his neighborhood or in his community or his school or whatnot. And then I also learned that by teaching these kids how to box, that also teaches them how to focus in school. You know, I mean, it really, because you got to learn combinations. You got to learn the discipline of going 3 rounds, 3 minutes. And when you learn to do that, you feel like you can do anything if you apply yourself to it, and that carries over to education in school.
Exactly. Education in school. Stay in school, stay in the boxing gym. And what about when you get bullies? Because I'm sure you must get some of the bullies. How do you work with them?
I work with them the same way, and I line them up with the guys that they feel like they can bully, because the thing is, everybody's tough until they feel pain. And then when you tell them punch this bag for 3 rounds, all of a sudden they're good for the first minute. And then the second minute, they feel embarrassed because they don't want the person they're trying to bully to see them making that face, oh, I'm hurting, because, you know, it hurts your ego and it hurts your pride. And so what it happens is it takes all that I think I'm tough out of them, and it's like, okay, you tired, I'm tired. Good, we're on the same page, friend.
Yeah. And, we hear a lot about bullying these days, and when you look at the bully, who knows what's happening at their house, if they are being abused physically, God forbid, sexually. You know what I mean? There's something more.
Absolutely.
So we're working with a lot of the kids that are being bullied, but I think we also have to work with the bullies themselves and see what's going on in their life and trying to change. So I'm glad you're doing that in your gym. Are you still at the same gym over there in India? What's the name of your gym, Lamon?
I am actually working out of a few gyms, to be honest with you, but the gym that I'm working out of is called Inertia Boxing Gym, and it's actually a fitness club. And then there's the Washington Park Boxing Gym that I'm training out of, and then there's the SRG on the West Side Gym. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to not put myself in one place, but trying to make myself available to as many people that I can help, because in this state also we have a very, very big obese rate. I mean, every other person is not overweight, they're fat. And I'm just saying it like it is. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show them how to live a better life. And I call it a lifestyle, not a diet. A diet is something you do until you achieve a goal. I'm trying to give them a lifestyle so that they'll feel, hey, you know what? This is something that I want to do for the rest of my life. It's just a little sacrifice. But, in order to do anything great, anything good, there must be a sacrifice.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't realize that there was such an obese rate over there. I mean, Americans in general, we run to the fast food. It's easy. So, and, I'm guilty of that. But thank God
we all.
You're not my
alone.
Oh, man. So where we have to tell everybody, where you and I know each other is from LA Boxing, the real one, down here near the Olympic Auditorium.
Thank you for saying the real one. Thank you.
Oh, it's the real one. It's not the commercial one that you hear of these days. It's the real, gritty. It's so awesome. I mean, it was huge. We had the 2 rings and the 1 ring. And when I think of you, I think of Bill Slayton. And tell me if I'm wrong, because this is what I keep picturing. Him in the one. He's always in that one room with that 1 ring, leaning against it, getting you ready. Was that correct, or is that something I just made up?
That is says me. Yes, that was my. I love that gym. It was a great gym, and everybody was like a family in there, and I really appreciated that gym. And I'm still sad to this day that gym is not there, because we had the great Chicanito Hernandez. We had Sugar Shane Mosley. Oh my gosh, man! We had so many people that used to train at that gym. Baby Doll, Bridget Rowley. Everybody,
Reggie Johnson, remember
Reggie? Yes. That was a great gym, and I'm heartbroken that gym. Yeah, wow. I'm sad now.
Yeah, it turned into I think it's an Asian church or something, but it was the best boxing gym around. Yeah, best boxing gym around. Oh my God!
Yes,
and your trainer was such a sweetheart. I always remember him, and he was pretty quiet, but he was always kind.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. He trained. He used to train Ken Norton.
Right. Oh my gosh. I mean, I never thought that he was even that old, and I was so surprised when he passed away. I'm sorry. I thought he'd live forever. Oh my gosh. Was that 2004?
It was October 2003, and I fought Vladimir and won my title in 2004.
That's right.
His dying wish was not to get better. His dying wish was not to come home from the hospital. His dying wish was for Lamon Brewster to become heavyweight champion of the world.
Oh, my God. I just got goosebumps all over the face. Yeah, well, come on. Yeah. We know, like I heard you say before, what an angel he is and was, and I'm sure he saw that happen, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a part of my life, and I can honestly say, it's not a day that's ever passed that I don't think of Bill Slayton, because he taught me, not just how to be a tremendous fighter, but he taught me how to be a man, how to be a gentleman. He taught me morals and values, and I truly owe my success to Bill Slayton, because when I came to California, I didn't have any money, I didn't have any friends, but he took me in. He used to give me money out of his own pocket. He was a father to me. He was everything that a father could be to a child. And so every day in my life, the reason why you don't hear about me in controversies is because I'm trying to honor those who did so much to help me to become the man that I became.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and, anyone if I mention you or Bill, nobody ever has anything but really nice words to say about you, because you're fantastic. And, that brings me to the other subject, which made me very sad. I know you had you trusted your accountant just way too much. He was your power of attorney. Can you explain a little bit about what happened in that situation?
Well, I just want to say I always heard the stories. Well, Oprah, for instance, she said, always sign your own checks. And, the thing of it is she was absolutely right. You should always watch your own money, even when you trust a person. And I just want to say, because I didn't, I ended up in a financial situation that I brought upon myself. So as much as I want to be upset with people, I'm even more upset with myself, because I did not watch my money because I trusted people.
Yeah. And so then you couldn't do anything about it, huh, to get your money back?
No, ma'am, I could not, because it was actually legal. When you give somebody power of attorney, and that you're basically co-signing, saying they have the right to do with your money whatever that they want to do, because if not, you would not have co-signed for them, and that's the way that they look at that. Now, if you want to, take action, then, there are actions that you can take, but if you don't have the finances to do it, you're stuck like Chuck.
So you didn't have the finances to take the person to court, huh?
No, I didn't, but, at the same time, I also felt like, what, God gave it to me, God took it away, and I always kind of felt like I was a descendant of Job, always, even before I even became successful. And so I said, for this to happen, because all through the Bible, don't get me wrong, I am not some religious, holy person, but I am a man of faith, meaning I do believe in God, regardless of what name you call him. And in the Bible, it says that a fool and his money should soon depart. Now, that's in Proverbs, and I've read that, and I almost felt like he was talking to me. Naturally, he was. Obviously, he was, because every other chapter, it was something about a fool. When he said the word fool, I thought about me, but I just kept reading on, and as I saw my money go, because I'm too busy, because I'm flying here, I'm flying there, I'm doing this, I'm doing that I felt like, okay, let me just let somebody else handle my money. Well, big mistake. That's all I could say. Big mistake.
It's a shame. I mean, it's in one hand you have to say, wow, you were very trusting, and on the other hand, it's a shame that you can't just trust people like that. And it is a good lesson to say that we have to sign our own checks. I know Reggie Johnson went through something similar, but thankfully for you, it worked out this way and not the way it worked out with Reggie, because he is still fighting his situation. And he's another good guy. So, well, I'm glad get ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, with that being said, that has motivated me to do something to try to help fighters that once they retire, that there's life after boxing for them, because everybody's not going to be a trainer. Everybody's not going to be a commentator. So I'm working on something that I believe is actually going to be like life after boxing for champions. So it gives those who are not champions incentive to strive, so they qualify for what I am about to introduce the world to, God willing.
Can we talk about For Champs? Is that okay to talk about it now?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay. Tell everybody about it. That's exciting.
Oh, okay. Well, just to let you know, we just started a company called For Champs. Now, everybody's going to go to the website, which is the number 4 and then CHAMPS Promotions, PROMOTINS. I hope I spelled that right. 4champspromotions.com. And when they Google it, they're going to see there's actually 5 champions. But the name of the promotional company is 4 Champions. And the reason why is because every project that I do, and I say the word project versus promotion, because every time I do something, it's going to be a project which is going to use other champions. It's going to always include 4 world champions. This instance, it just happens to be 5 champions. But if you want to be technical about it, the 4 champions are going to represent each region around the United States. Riddick Bowe is going to be representing Washington, D.C. He's going to take the top 8 super heavyweight fighters. I'm sorry, you say something?
I just said wow because I'm from that area, so you know.
Oh, okay. So Riddick Bowe is going to take the top 8 super heavyweight that send in their videos that want to fight on this card. It's going to be part of a reality show as well. And then you're going to have Chris Bird, who's going to be taking the Las Vegas region, and he's going to take the top 8 super heavyweights from that whole West Coast region. You're going to have Ray Mercer, who's going to be taking Houston. Reggie Johnson is going to be overseeing, and he's going to take the top 8 Southern fighters from that region. And then James Toney, who's going to be taking the Midwest region, which is Lafayette, Indiana, and he's going to be taking the top 8 super heavyweights. And they're all going to pick the 8 that they want to represent that region. They're going to come to that region. They're going to fight. And then there's going to be one. Now, a month later, the winner of each region is going to fly to Indianapolis, Indiana, my hometown, and they are going to be walking into the ring with the world champion from their region. This is going to be the first time in the history Riddick Bowe and Chris Bird will be staring each other down while their fighters from their region is going to be staring each other down. There's going to be a weigh-in. There's going to be a press conference, and this is going to be recognized by USA Boxing. I spoke personally to Anthony Borkowski, president of USA Boxing Federation, and they're going to acknowledge the winner, and the winner will actually get a rating in the top 10. And the next fight, the pro fight that fighter has when he decides to turn pro, he's going to be accompanied into the ring by 5 heavyweight world champions, 2 gold medalists, 2 silver medalists, and 1 10-time world champion in like 6 different weight categories, like South James Toney.
So this is all amateur, right, around the United States?
Yes, this is all
amateur boxers. Okay. Yeah, and Anthony Borkowski is the executive director for USA Boxing, so I think it's great that, you have their blessing. And I know you're looking for more sponsorship, right? So if anyone's available
yes, I am.
To sponsor this project?
Yes, if anybody's available, please go to 4champs.com and look up sponsorships, and there are many packages that you can purchase, or we can work with you individually to get your name on the ring canvas and by the way, because this is going to be the type of television, I believe is going to be a live stream, and I say I believe because we're still negotiating. Right now, we have locked in Punch Television.
You still there? Lamon, did we lose Lamon? No.
I'm still
Prophet,
here.
Are you there? Okay,
I'm
you're
here.
there, Clarence?
Yeah.
Okay. Lamon, I don't know what happened to you. You're fading. All right, we're going to get him back. But 4 Champs, and I want to make sure to ask him this because when I went there, you needed a password. So I want to see if they still need a password. You there, Lamon?
Nope, it's live. It's live now. Now it's live. So we're asking everybody to go to 4champs.com or go to the Facebook 4champs.com and like the page because this is for us. What we're trying to do, we're trying to bring back America's, or should I say, we're trying to find America's next heavyweight champion. But on top of that, as something you actually pointed out to me, thank you. I don't know if people realize, but we have not had a heavyweight gold medalist since the 84 Olympics, which, if I'm not mistaken,
88 Olympics. Ray Mercer, 88 Olympics. That's right. We have not. You haven't had a silver medalist in the heavyweight since 1904. Is that crazy?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
So we're trying
you
to help
mentioned something. Say it again, Lamon.
I say we're just trying to help the sport. And the way we want to do it is starting with the amateur program, because to be a great professional, it actually starts in the amateurs getting the experience.
Exactly. Yeah, people don't realize that. After they become pro, they just kind of leave the amateurs. But we need all these fighters to come back and help the program like you are. That's very true. And you had mentioned something about, all of you guys living in a house together. Is that part of the same program?
Yes. Now, after this fight, our goal is to come to Las Vegas and promote our first professional fight. Hopefully it'll be the early part of next year. But the five of us are all going to live in one house for 6 weeks, and we're going to work on promoting a fight with the Cosmopolitan Hotel, I believe it is. So you're going to see a lot of action and a lot of drama, because you can't have 5 fighters in a house regardless of what weight they are, let alone heavyweights. And we're talking about Tasmanian Devil himself, Lights Out James Toney. We're talking about the great Riddick Bowe. We're talking about Ray Mercer. We're talking about Chris Bird and yours truly, Lamon Brewster, all in one house for 6 weeks. No wives. Oh, my gosh. It's going to be drama.
Oh, my God. In Las Vegas, we're going to have relentless Lamon Brewster. Oh, my goodness. That's going to be crazy.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I can imagine. It's very interesting in my imagination. It's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure. Oh, my God. Well, you know what, Prophet, you have a question for Lamon, because we don't want it to get too late before you ask your question. But make it to the point.
I have a couple of questions. First, when you're pumping me up, I may have to give one of your fighters my Boxing Prophet robe so they can actually wear it into the ring with them. That would be pretty good.
Right on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I wanted to talk briefly about your amateur career, then your pro career. You tried out for the '96 Olympic team, but you lost to Nate Jones, who you later defeated as a professional, and Zavaro Williamson, so you didn't qualify. But in '95, you did win a silver medal at the Pan Am Games. And my first question to you was, you lost to legendary Cuban hero Felix Savon. And my question is, how do you think Felix Savon would fare in the professional ranks if he defected from Cuba and fought great heavyweights over the past 10 or 15 years? How do you think he would do?
I think Savon would have been pretty good, to be honest with you. I think he definitely could have been a champ. He had everything that it took, and if he could have overcame the stamina problem, which some great amateurs suffer because they can't. They're so good as amateurs that when they have to stretch out those rounds, it kind of takes them out of their game. Like the great Kelsey Banks. He was a great fighter, and you had other fighters, but. I think he would have did good because he had a right hand almost as great as Telephone Stevenson, and I think he was a great fighter. I think he would have did pretty good, to be honest with you, as a professional heavyweight. And I just want to, while I have the floor, I just want to say, just to clear the record, a lot of people don't know, but I was chosen as a team captain for the U.S. Olympic team in 1996. 2 years out, and I was number 1 heavyweight in the United States. But unfortunately, all the way up to the U.S. Olympic trials, I was the man all the way until my wife called me, and we started going through a divorce the day of the Olympic trials. And I had beat Nate Jones 3 times prior to that. In that particular fight, all I wanted to do was knock Nate Jones out, and all he wanted to do was survive. So he hit me and ran, but by the time I came to my senses, it was too late.
Yeah, I remember that, hearing all about that. That's really sad, because we know that you could have made it. But you know what? When you have emotional stuff going on, it's very hard to get past that. Unfortunately, it happened at that time. But we know how great you are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Prophet, you know what? Let's give Clarence a chance. Do you want to ask a question, Clarence?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would like to start off first by I'd like to commend you, Lamon. I'd like to commend you on your efforts, for boxing to uplift the youth or whatnot, because I feel like that's something that urban areas, not just urban areas, but every area needs, because so many people put their children into football and basketball. They don't understand how boxing can help discipline, children. So I want to commend you on
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
And it's like you said. I also want to touch on the subject how you said that you didn't get into trouble, you weren't running the street, and it's good for people to see that you don't have to be a bad boy in the street to be tough, because you knocked out Klitschko and you knocked out Galata. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm in the Guinness Book of Records. I hold the record for the fastest knockout in heavyweight history in a championship fight, 53 seconds over Andrew Galata.
And I remember that. I remember how shocked I was. And you got people running the street that they can't say that.
Yes, sir.
That's true.
Yes, sir.
That's true.
But God said to be humble.
Yes, you're always humble. That's why we have to spell your successes for you, Lamon. But I want to mention something, that David Haye and Tyson Fury are going to be fighting on September 28th. What are you thinking about that, Lamon? In England, they're going to fight.
That's going to be a really good fight. You know what? I'm really glad to hear that, because now we're going to see how good Tyson Fury really is, and now Tyson Fury is going to fight a guy who has an ego and who's going to try to bring it to him. So that's going to be a very, very interesting fight. But I will have to say, for the record, I will put my money on David Haye, because he's impressed me with his boxing ability in the ring, and I just won't count him out. I will say I could be wrong, but if I had to say out of the two, I would say David Haye.
Well, David Haye has 26 wins, 24 knockouts, and only 2 losses. Tyson Fury has 21 wins, 15 knockouts, and no losses. And they're both English, boxing in England. So, at least they have a fair chance there. So your money's on David Haye.
Yeah.
Look at the
caliber of fighters. Look at the caliber of fighters that David Haye has fought versus Tyson Fury. And then look at Tyson Fury getting knocked down by Steve Cunningham, who just came into the heavyweight division. So he's a big cruiserweight and got knocked down. And we all know David Haye can crack. He throws haymakers.
He throws haymakers. Yeah, and so that's when you want to give him a nice straight punch when he's going for that haymaker.
So I ain't going to count that dude out.
Man, I think that Fury right now, he's hyped right now. He's hyped, and I don't think his size is going to be something new to Haye, because Haye fought Valuev a couple of years ago, and he was like 7 feet. So yeah, I see Fury getting knocked out, man.
I do too, man, because I think that sometimes when you come, like Muhammad Ali referred to heavyweights as dinosaurs, because they think with their brute and not with their brain. But David Haye, coming from the cruiserweight, he had to think with his brain. That's why he was smart enough to beat Valuev when nobody else could. And what's going to happen is Fury's going to go out there, he's going to see the small man, and he's going to take chances, because I believe he got Irish blood or something like that in him. He's going to land on his back. He's going to depend on his muscle versus his brain.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. That'll be September 28th in England, if anyone wants to watch that, which I'm sure we all will. And I want to ask you, Lamon, too, what you think about Miguel Cotto going to Freddie Roach as a trainer. What do you think? Because Miguel's had quite a few trainers these days.
I don't think it's going to matter, because he is certified, he's bona fide, he has, in my opinion, I just think that he is as good as he's going to get. I mean, maybe the motivation might play a factor, because Freddie Roach is a good motivator, but I don't think you can teach this guy a new trick, because he's seen every trick that can be done to him in the sport of boxing, and I wish him the best, but I don't see, I mean, not to say his age, because it's mind over matter, and if you don't mind, it don't matter, but at the same time, this guy's been around the block, he's had some wars, and if you know anything about wars, anytime you have a war, it takes a little bit out of you and a little more out of you until you have none left.
He definitely goes for the wars. And, it's like what bothers me, and I love Cotto. People know I love Cotto. But what bothers me is the second a fighter loses, they change coaches. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. You don't have to do that. And then they have Freddie Roach, And he has gotten some losses in the last, what was it, Chavez Jr., you have Pacquiao. Prophet, what do you think about Miguel Cotto's new trainer?
Yeah, I think it's very curious. I think Freddie Roach, who's known for being the more offensive-oriented trainer, Pedro Diaz, a trainer from the national Cuban team, is more defensive-oriented. And I thought, for the most part, Cotto was very competitive against Floyd Mayweather. As far as I'm concerned, the Austin Trout fight could have gone either way. And I like Diaz's style, and I'm Freddie Roach. I like Freddie Roach as a person. He's a great humanitarian for the sport of boxing. I think as a trainer, he's a little bit overrated. And I actually think Pedro Diaz is the better trainer at this stage of his career for Miguel Cotto. But, Christy, if I can, I just wanted to ask Lamon Brewster one more question before you let him go.
Go ahead.
All right, Lamon, I noticed, early in your career when you lost to Charles Shuford and Clifford Etienne, you were deemed just as a quote-unquote opponent for Klitschko. And the reason why I bring this fight up, and I know it's already been brought up several times, was because I was there on vacation in Vegas, and I remember it like it was yesterday because Zab Judah fought Corey Spinks that night also. And to me, the situation, the similarities between you knocking out Klitschko were eerily reminiscent to back in 1990 when James Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. If you remember correctly, Buster Douglas lost his mom a couple of weeks before that fight, and you lost someone near and dear to your heart before the Klitschko fight. And it was amazing to you. Both you and Buster Douglas overcame adversity. You were both knocked down early, and you came back, and you both shocked the world. And that was one of only two heavyweight championship fights, Douglas-Tyson and you beating Klitschko, where I was hugging grown men, making a public scene because I was so excited that you shocked the world. That's my compliment, of course, and how great you were. But my question to you is, after the fight was over, at the post-fight press conference and weeks after the fight, Klitschko was claimed he was drugged, he was poisoned. That had to have left a bitter taste in your mouth.
It did. It did, and thank you for the compliment. It did leave a bitter taste in my mouth because people were foolish enough to believe this man. So from 1 to 4, when he was winning, nobody had a problem with him. But then the minute he got tired and ran out of gas, he's claiming poison. Yeah, it hurts because you know why? I did something that I thought would win the fight, which was to give him, and to be honest, a lot of people don't know. So really, this is the first time on record, on a interview, on a talk, that I'm actually going to say this. When I trained to fight Vladimir Klitschko, I did not train to beat him in the early rounds. I trained to take him into the deep water by putting pressure on him, making him punch the entire time, because when he fought Ray Mercer, which is a fight that I studied, I noticed even though he knocked Mercer out, he was so out of breath. And all Ray Mercer did was put pressure on him by standing straight up, taking punches, and throwing a jab. So I said, if I study fights on Joe Frazier and keep pressure on him, and if you go back and watch the fight, every single time the bell rang, I ran to him. I didn't walk. I ran to him. Even when I got up off the canvas, I ran to him, and I kept pressure on him, so I never allowed him the chance to hit me and step back and get his breath. And he did exactly what I thought he was going to do, except I thought he was going to do it after the 6th or the 7th round. But when he showed the weakness, if you watch the fight, I didn't throw as many punches as him. And then people say, oh, you took a whole lot of punches. Well, I want them to go back and watch my interview and look at my face. Does that look like a man who had been into a serious battle? Yes, he did hit me with shots, but the majority of them hit my gloves. Yeah, he beat my hands up. They may still be hurting, but even now I can't tell. But the point I'm making is I planned and I trained, and that's where Tony Thompson came in and Khalid Mihan came in and other fighters, was that I trained to go hard as I could, pressure-wise, getting up under these guys, getting close to these guys, making them grab me, make them fight me in altitude until when I got in the fight, I was brainwashed that was all that I knew to do. So by the time I did throw my jab, I kept throwing a jab, and then I noticed at one point when I threw the jab in the fourth round, he didn't answer. Like he had no defense for it. He just was kind of shook. Then I knew I had him. So the next time I threw a jab, I came with the hook, and then the fight was all downhill from that point on. But then I knew the bell, keeping that clock in my head, I knew the bell was going to ring, and I didn't want to let him off the hook. So that's when I made the decision to keep that pressure to try to bust his heart. And I was able to pull it off before the bell of the fifth round. And when he went down, I think the referee Bird, it was, he decided to call it the fight because he was shot. And the hurtful part is that I followed out my plan to an absolute T. And then to hear this man, a gold medalist with millions of fans around the world, to say he was poisoned, it hurt me to no end because I gave my best. I didn't take no drugs, no steroids. I didn't cut no corners. I didn't see my wife. I didn't touch my wife. I didn't hug my kids. I gave everything for that fight. And for this man to take that moment away from me, instead of being an honorable man and say, hey, he was the better man this night, that hurt beyond hurt, But the thing is, my trainer believed that I could beat him. I believe I can beat him. And the point that I've always tried to make in life, which is why Lamon Brewster made it from the ghetto, made it from the bullet-ridden neighborhoods, made it from the drugs, is because if you believe in yourself, regardless of who believes in you, you can do it. You can make it, even if your parents don't believe in you. And if you don't believe that, ask Lamon Brewster, because Lamon Brewster has done everything he's done in his life because he believed in himself. I came to California from Indiana, didn't know nobody, made the U.S. Olympic team, didn't nobody know me, became a world champion, didn't nobody know me, and defended my championship, and didn't nobody know me. So, it's all been about me believing in myself at the end of the day, and that's the biggest thing I'm trying to get through to anybody who will listen to anything I have to say.
Well, that's very inspirational. I'm hoping people listen and understand all that. And, we know that when you fought Klitschko and you won, fighters make excuses all the time. And we know you, and you have a track record. I don't think anyone's going to really believe what he was saying. I think it's pretty sad that he would do that. And you're right. The referee was Robert Byrd. You have a good memory there. Good memory.
He did something I've never seen before. He did something I've never seen. I just want to say this real quick. When Vladimir was against the ropes, he gave him a standing 8 count. I thought as a fighter, you had to be in a world championship. I thought you gave a 8 count to a fighter when he was on the actual canvas, not when he was against the ropes. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's interesting. But, why don't you explain that for people who might not know what you're talking about? So you're saying that he kind of saved him for about 8 seconds? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, all you got to do is go back to the fight and watch the fight. When I caught him with the left hook and he fell into the ropes and I'm pounding on him, that's the first time in the history of any championship fight where the referee stepped in, pushed me away to give him an 8 count. There is no standing 8 count in a world title fight unless I don't know what I'm talking about. I've only been boxing since I was 7 and I'm 40, and I still to this day, before that and since that, I've never seen a champion get a standing 8 count while he was standing. You're supposed to be on the canvas. But the word was because the ropes was holding him up, they gave him an 8 count. Well, I'm the only fighter that's ever happened to. That's all I'm saying.
There's so many firsts for you, Lamon. So many firsts. You have so many firsts in your life. Some that are really good and some that are not that good. But, it's Lamon. Clarence, what were you saying?
Oh, no, I was just saying, I remember that fight, and I remember them trying to save Vladimir. They tried everything they could, man, and I was so happy that, they didn't take it from you, man.
Yeah, I went into that fight. I went into that fight knowing that I could not get a decision. I went into that fight with a plan because, I say I'm a Broadway fighter from Watts, California, and I had this saying in boxing, if I can't work and make it, I'm going to fight and take it, and ain't nobody going to give nobody from Broadway nothing. You come from the hood, you got to earn it, Jack, and that's what my mentality was. It wasn't to get a decision. My mentality was I was going to knock this dude out, and I told him before the fight, I said, you're going to have to kill me to win this fight.
Yeah,
and I believe they show footage of that too, man. I believe I was watching it. I remember watching the live program on HBO, and I believe they show footage of you saying that at the press conference.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
I got upset.
Prophet, what were you saying?
No, I was going to tell you, I was going to harp on what, Clarence said. I heard it as well, and just the images of Mike Tyson putting in his mouthpiece backwards against Douglas and watching Klitschko trip and fall all over Emmanuel Stewart, to me, were both priceless. It's just, it's just it's the human spirit prevailing. No one gave you a chance, and it was just great to be there and actually watch it in person. Was great. And for those that still question Lamon Brewster's heart, let me just tell you that when he lost his WBO heavyweight title to Lakovic, he fought with a torn detached retina in his left eye, and he would go on to fight 4 more times before he would retire. Now, if you want to, if anyone deserves, praise and shows the triumph of the human spirit, I mean, here's a guy that fights with a detached retina. No one can say anything negative as far as Lamon Brewster goes. I think
Thank you so much.
He embodies all that's great with the sport of boxing. You're almost like the heavyweight version of the late great Arturo Gatti, may he rest in peace.
They call me. Well, my manager at the time, Sam Simon, co-creator of The Simpsons, called me Blocky, which means Black Rocky.
Blocky? That's good. I like that.
Well, it's been great, and I hope along the way that I have been able to inspire people that they can do anything they want to do, because when I was growing up in my neighborhood, I didn't know anybody great except drug dealers. I didn't know anybody, and as a child, I refused, even to this day, I never wear a pair of Michael Jordans, because I've seen so many of my friends killed over those things, and I ain't really seen him do much for the community, not trying to put him down, but I'm just saying I refuse to idle things. That's why you didn't see me with Bentleys and own cribs and things like that, because that ain't what life is all about. Life is about helping your brother and sisters and lifting them up in spirit. That's what it's all about, because God said one day we all got to stand judgment according to our deeds. Now, your deed could be good, your deed could be bad, but we all got to answer, and that's what it is.
That's true. And just like your situation, there's if you believe in karma, what comes around goes around, and you're sitting pretty, Lamon, and that accountant, I feel sorry for him. Because you're such a good guy, and I love having you on the show. I miss you. I hope you come back to California sometime soon. Do you have any plans to come back soon?
Yes, I really do. Again, I'm working on this fight. I'm working on this reality show, and I'm trying to establish a boxing gym right here in the city of Indianapolis. I'm going to train a couple of trainers to actually teach them the art of fighting, the science, not to throw punches, because everywhere from California to New York, trainers are teaching fighters to throw punches, not turn their hips, not sit down on the punches, not roll their thumbs, not tuck their shoulders. They're just teaching guys to get in there like a horse, to run around the track and be first and win money. You're not teaching the science of boxing, and the greats like the Angelo Dundees and Eddie Futches and Theo Torrances and Bill Slayton. These guys are looking at us like, man, what are you guys doing? Because these trainers are not teaching these guys to fight. They thinking bigger is better just because he could punch hard. But it ain't about how hard you can punch a person. It's can your fighter not get hit. That's the science of boxing, hitting without getting hit. That's what I'm teaching these guys, and that's what I tell people. If you want to come to throw punches and get in shape, you need to go somewhere else. If you want to learn the art of fighting, you're in the right place.
I hope you teach them to use their jab, too. I mean, the jab seems like people forget that is such an important weapon for boxing, is their jab. I love the jab.
You cannot blow up a target unless you can pinpoint it. To pinpoint it, you got to use the jab. Then you throw your missile. Your jab ain't nothing but a bullet. Your right hand is the missile, or if you southpaw, your left hand is the missile. I mean, people just don't understand. I mean, people are punching with their upper bodies. You know how much energy that takes for you to punch with your upper body, because your hips get you out of bed. They put you in bed. They take you to and from the bathroom or wherever you got to go. Your hips do all the work, so they're used to working. They don't get tired. But nobody teaches you how to throw from the hips. They teach you to throw. Oh, that's a hard shot, champ. Yeah, it's good for one punch. But how many punches can you punch before you get tired? And they're teaching aerobic workout. Oh, run 3 miles and you can fight 12 rounds. Well, you don't fight like you run. So why would you run 3 miles? I'm not saying not to run 3 miles. You run 3 miles to get in shape. But if you want to fight 12 rounds, you got to stop and go. Like when the bell rings, you go sit down on the stool, and then you got to start your heart all over again. So train your heart, not your body, y'all. Your heart is what is going to dictate everything in the fight, along with your brain.
That's right. Power's in the hips, and and so I'm sure you did intervals and sprints, and I know you're big on nutrition now. I know that you know about carbs and protein because I heard you talking about that.
That's in layman's terms, and being that my name is Layman, what I'm saying goes.
Exactly. Well, is there anything else, any shout-outs, any sponsorships, or anything that you want to talk about before we have to go here?
Yes, I want to say to anybody that's listening, if you know somebody that knows somebody, please tell them to go to 4champs.com and buy one of the sponsorship packages. Get your name on the canvas. This is going to be the first time in the history of boxing that 5 world champions have come together to do anything other than eat at the Boxing Hall of Fame. So what I'm asking is because we're trying to help kids. We're trying to get these kids off the street. Now, you can help us to help these kids, or you can help us to pay the prison system to keep these kids out of your house. So the choice is yours.
Oh, I like that. That's very powerful. So hopefully they're listening to you and 4 Champs, don't forget, is the number 4 and then Champs, CHAMPS. And we want you to say the website again. Yeah, say the website again.
Promotions, yes, www.4champspromotions.com. And we are donating money to the USA Boxing Federation and the Indian the PAL Club, the Boxing PAL Club.
The Police Athletic League. Yes, Police Athletic League. That's a good one.
Yes, and it's very important that we help these kids because everybody is not book material. Everybody's not some football player. Some people need to be in boxing because they have ADD, which is great to help you to pay attention throwing punches because it teaches you discipline. If you want to get rid of bullies, well, then you put a bully in the gym when he realizes he ain't no tougher than nobody else in the gym, what humbles him. But then you put somebody who's been bullied in the gym and they feel confident that they can take care of themselves, so they ain't got to get a gun and accidentally shoot you trying to shoot the bully. So I'm telling you, it all works together, so you got to help me because I'm reaching out to everybody to help me.
Definitely. So we can listen now and we can go to the 4 Champs Promotions, right? Is that right? Say it again because I want to write this down here. Say it again. So it's 4 dot.
Yep, Champs. www.4champspromotions.com.
Promotions.com. Very cool.
Yes.
And then you can work with Lamon Brewster, Riddick Bowe, Reggie Johnson, Chris Bird, and Ray Mercer. That would be awesome.
And James Tony. Don't forget James Tony.
Oh, God, how can we forget James? He just fought.
Yeah, he'll cut us all out.
Oh, my God. We want James to work with you, and we want him to stay out of the ring. Come on, James. We want you to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
Gosh, this has been a great show. Layman, you are wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Hopefully you'll come back in the near future. Please, don't forget.
I'm a phone call away. I'm a phone call away. And if I'd had courage when I was a young man, you probably would have been my wife because I was just afraid to approach you.
Are you serious? You never even said anything like that when I used to see you. My gosh.
That's what shy people do. I'm still shy.
You were shy. Oh, my God. You just said on live internet radio that you had a crush on me.
Yes, I did say that. I'm not afraid of it. You want to fight? Just kidding.
You're so cute. Well, thank you so much. And, you're wonderful, and we're going to definitely keep in touch and get you some great sponsors. All right, Lamon?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure talking
Clarence.
to you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Clarence.
Clarence.
Thank you, Prophet.
My pleasure.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. I'm going to just stay on and just give a couple promos, and I'm going to see you guys in 2 weeks. 2 weeks on the 23rd. We're going to be back at 2:30 West Coast time. You guys, thank you so much. Wonderful having Lamon Brewster on the show. Wonderful having Clarence and Prophet as always. Don't forget to watch the fight this weekend. You'll have Yuzo Kyoto against Robert Steiglitz on July 13th. And we'll be back. See you in 2 weeks.